city's plight. Shadows fall, dimming the light. Whispers grow, a rising tide. Vindicator, where do you hide? Steel is over, heart ablaze. Through smoky haze, he sets his gaze. Justice calls a burning need. A city's wounds he vows to heed. From cobbled streets to tower high, Vindicator takes to the sky. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Whispers turn to thunderous roar as shadows creep. He slams the door on tyranny's cruel, grasping hand. He fights for freedom, takes a stand with courage born of darkest night. He ignites hope, a guiding light. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Though battles rage and darkness reigns, hope's ember burns within his veins. He'll never yield, he'll never fall. He answers freedom's clarion call. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. A symbol etched against the moon. Vindicator rising soon.
Hello, everybody. How you all doing? I hope you're doing really well. Is it all soggy where you are? Because it's been absolutely raining non-stop where I am. Right. Hi, chat. How you all doing? Right. So this is just going to be an impromptu chat. It's just a general chat. It's just anything we want to talk about, anything you guys want to talk about in the chat. We'll bring it up. We'll have a look at it. I've got a few things lined up for us to have a look at. So first off, I want to look at this because this is interesting. This is from York. This is from York. Not this. This isn't from York. Although, you know, most of our kids are probably going to have to learn to do this. Yeah, this is the only way your daughters are going to stay safe in this country now. Is most likely eventually they're going to have to learn how to do that. Sad to say, but it's true. But that's not what I want to look at. Bookmarks, there we go. It's this here. It's this here. Right, let's have a look. Let's see if it's showing. Are you showing? Yeah, you're showing. Good. So it says here, Katie Hopkins, give your heads a wobble at City of York. You're gonna go full twat spangle. Never go full twat spangle. That orange jumper, smooth face, is about to learn some life lessons the hard way. There we go. So it says this. How many lefties do you think are going to sign up for this, by the way? How many lefties do you think are going to sign up? All those people that have those banners saying refugees welcome here. How many do you think are going to sign up for this one? So let's take a good look at it. Right. So the City of York Council. Do you have a spare room in York? Help support asylum seekers in our community. Yeah. We should show this. We should show this to all these people that are raising, that have those little banners saying refugees welcome. So, well, now's your opportunity. Now's your opportunity to help them, not just virtue signal, but actually help them. Take them into your homes if you live in York, because York wants you to take them to homes. I've got another one coming. I've got another intro coming soon. I'm working on it at the minute. I think everybody's going to like it. It's a continuation. Let's just say it's a continuation. Saw a vid today about the Irish teacher Enoch Burke, who has just been sentenced to life in prison for refusing to. There's a bit more to the story, but that's the general thing. Apparently, a lot of it was to do with him trespassing on school property, but the real reason he's been put in prison it's the punishment is the process. The process is the punishment, isn't it? It's because he refused to use pronouns. That's what the crux of everything is. Anything else? We will ask if we can wipe the arsenic. I have known they were going to try this for a long time. Face mockery for telling others. Haven't the politicians got spare rooms in their second houses? It is a controversial idea. Let's just send them back. Then we don't need to accommodate them, do we? We don't need to have spare rooms and accommodate them. Half of them shouldn't even be here anyway. So why should we be doing this? Yeah. Crazy. So look at some of the stuff that I bookmarked loads of stuff to talk about, but never actually do. Right, we'll talk about this because I've pushed this myself, but I've got to admit, I don't think this is going to work. I just don't. So this is what they've talked about. The Great British National Strike start 2nd of the 2nd, 2026, finish 9th of the 2nd, 2026. Call a general election. It's trying to force a general election. Mass civil non-compliance, opt out and stay at home. No work, no education, no shopping. Now, I think this is a lot like stopping paying your tax, stopping paying your council tax and stuff like that. This only ever works if the whole country does it. If the whole country did it, it may have a chance. But even he is having to admit, the organizer, he's having to admit, saying, look, do you think the national strike will ever happen? I get asked this a lot. And honestly, like anyone else, I have my doubts. And this is the guy that's organising it. Only 0.1% of our followers share posts about the national strike. Just 0.08% have donated even £1 towards our advertising campaign. We have 21 leafleting volunteers out of over 600,000 followers. Now, we were talking about this yesterday on Tom 00 News's channel. Go and subscribe to him, by the way. I will leave a link in the chat so you can go and subscribe to him. We're trying to get Tom to 1,000 subscribers so he can monetize his channel and start doing things like I do, going about doing protests and stuff. But this is what we were talking about yesterday. Yeah, you've got 600,000 followers, but the majority of those people will just be all talk. They're not going to want to get off their arse and actually do something. They'll talk about it online till they're blue in the face. Yeah, we need to do this. We need to do this. It's the same thing when you see people talk about we need a revolution. We need a civil war. These are the same people that will talk about it, but will not actually go out there and do it. They're waiting for somebody else to do it. And this is the issue. This is the problem we have in this country. This is why all our peaceful options are non-viable, because all our peaceful options, nobody will actually get behind them, because everybody's waiting for somebody else to do it. And that's the big problem in this country. It really is. The mainstream media has blackballed. Obviously, they're not going to promote this. That is naive to think the mainstream media were going to promote this. They wouldn't do that at all. Because I refuse to make shady deals to promote Reform UK. Right, okay. And many of the big names are happy to support small protests, but the one thing I genuinely believe could bring real change, a national strike. But unfortunately, it's going to fall on deaf ears, mate. Nobody wants to do it. The truth is, we have 8 weeks to make this happen. And while I'm genuinely grateful to those of you who do share, donate, promote, and get involved, the uncomfortable truth is that 99.9% of people reading this won't. And that's true. It's very true. So when people ask, do you think the national strike will ever happen? Honestly, I don't know. What I do know is this: I won't give up. I keep pushing forward for what I believe in, and that's all you can do, mate. It's all you can do. We're in a dark place right now, and the apathy and unwillingness to get involved, in my view, is our greatest threat. There you go, just said that, didn't I? Many people will see this post, most of them will be our followers, and most will simply scroll on by. The so-called leftists will jump in to mock us, and that will be the result of this post. I actually don't mind mocking. Their engagement helps us out in the end. True. Sometimes you just have to give up charging at the enemy and hope you are victorious, with or without any backup. Regardless, I won't stop. I continue to fight, but I don't know. That's my answer. And this guy is ex-military. He's an ex-squaddy. So he's not going to give up. He's going to keep on going. And I wish him all the luck. But for me personally, if you're not getting a response, even with the country in the present state it's in, then it's not going to work, is it? We'll have a look at this. We'll have a look at this in a minute. I'm going to stop sharing that. We'll go back to the chat a bit and have a look at the chat. Good afternoon. Hello, how are you doing? It will only work if everybody takes part, exactly. And that's the point. Hello, mate, how are you doing? All mouth, no action, keyboard warriors, exactly. We need more auditing to do. We need more auditing to do a migrant hotel. Okay, fair enough. Let's not have a civil. Let's have a peaceful revolution. And me personally, I do things. Yep, you do. As long as you do things. I mean, obviously, this is just the people that just sit on their arse and don't do anything. There are lots of people out there that actually do something, but it's a very, very tiny minority, unfortunately. Lots of people think it's a great idea because, just like the lefties, they like to virtue signal. So they'll click on and say, yeah, let's do this. And it's like, on the day, nah, they won't do it. So-called protesters on the left are generally paid actors. Yes, they are. 100%. People need to realise reform won't do anything. I'll be honest with you. I don't think any political party is going to do anything. They're really not. I think I've discussed this until I'm blue in the face about the real challenges that any party is going to face if it goes to Parliament. The main roadblock is going to be the civil service. You're going to need a very, very strong-willed party with a very strong leader to go in there and take on the civil service. These people are entrenched in government, and it's going to take somebody bold, strong to remove them, because that's what needs to happen. If we are going to get our parliament back, our country back, we need to get rid of the civil service. The fifth column that lays within it, that is the real leaders of the country. They are the ones that are running the country. It's the civil service. It's not the government. It's not Parliament. It's the civil service. So we need people that are strong, going to go in there and do what needs to be done. And unfortunately, from what I've seen of our political parties that we have to choose from, none of them are viable at the minute. None of them. That's just the way I see it. Not all of us are just keyboard warriors. Some of us do get. Yeah, I can vouch for Spawn. He was at the protest in Southampton. I know he goes to protest. He was down there. It's great to meet him. Great to meet Spawn. I think you were with us the majority of the time, weren't you, Spawn? When you went down there, buddy. Right on the front line with all of us. Were you there too, mate? Were you there too? Were you there as well? I think I saw you as well, didn't I? Sure, I did. Down in Southampton. I met loads of people. The thing is, I know your faces. I just don't know your on-screen avatars or your names online. That's the trouble. If I saw your face, I'd know who you were. Matthew, political parties. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, it was really great to meet you as well, mate. Really, really great. We nearly got trampled a few times by the police horses, didn't we? Yeah, that was an interesting day. Very interesting. Christian, then a MP, is developing policy for reform. David Starkey is also helping them, although they remains a Tory. Look, I'm going to say this once time, right? Actions speak louder than words to me. We'll only ever know how good reform is when they get into power, isn't it? That's going to be the true test. So I'm going to hold fire and see what they actually do. And if they do turn out to just be Tory 2.0, then we all know, don't we? Then we all know that we need to get behind a different party the next time. That's what people need to decide, right? All those people out there that say, right, let's just give reform a chance. Right, fair enough. Give reform a chance. But the minute they U-turn, the minute they betray us like every other party has ever done for the last few decades, then they're out. This is what people should do. Don't keep supporting them. Don't be tribalistic. Look at what they've done. If they don't deliver what they promise, abandon them. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. And that should be the same for any party. If they don't deliver what you require them to deliver, discard them. You have to start treating these people like utility companies. If you are with a gas or electric company and they're giving you a really bad deal and they're not delivering what you want, what do? You don't stay with them out of loyalty because they're not giving you what you want. You ditch them, you swap, and you find something else that is giving you a better deal. And that's exactly how we should deal with political parties. These people aren't superstars. They're not personalities. They're not celebrities. They are public servants. They are there to do a job. And that job is to serve us and to deliver what we want. If they don't do that, they should be gotten rid of. That's it. Now, next time, we're voting for somebody else. That's what needs to happen from now on. This non-stop tribalistic bullshit mentality that people have regarding political parties is what's led us to the situation we're in now. Because the real crux of all this is that people really should be voting for policy now, not for the personality. That's what should be happening. Policy is key. And because we've had decades and decades of people voting for Labour because their granddads voted for Labour, or they voted for the Conservatives because their families voted Conservative all their lives, and not policy. This is the issue. This is the issue we have. It is with party politics in this country. It's become too tribalistic. It's not about policy anymore. It's just about who your family voted for in the past, and it's wrong. It really is. Rupert Lowe started a new party in Great Yarmouth for Great Yarmouth. What's the point in that, though? What's the point in that? It's just yet another party to split the vote even further, isn't it? Farage is a political showman and only in it for himself. The Greens level when he came from on the job was off the scale. Yeah, don't know what all this is about. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be the England flag, but unfortunately, the England flag is censored on YouTube. But not a lot of people knew about that, did you? Censored. But yeah, that's my rant about that sort of politics. That's Tom messaged me. He probably doesn't know I'm live streaming right now, but I'm going to tell him. That's what you can hear buzzing in the background. It's Tom. So I've just told him online. He might actually come in. Might actually come in for a bit. Be interesting if he does. All we can do for now is hope we can be sorted at the ballot box. And this is the issue I've got, though. I mean, I've talked about party politics before. This is all based on an assumption that we get to 2029, because the current state of the country, I have to take in consideration all the factors. Look at how much damage the Labour Party, Keir Starmer's regime, has done to the country already, and that's just after a year and a half. He's still got another 3.5 years in power. So what's the country going to look like in 3.5 years? And I've got to bring this up because if I'd have made a video about this yesterday, it would have just been me just rolling around the floor laughing. It really would. Right, let's take a look at this. We'll get back to that in a bit. But I hope I bookmarked it because I thought it was hilarious. Where is it? Now, I don't think I bookmarked it. But apparently, and I know we get this all the time. We get this all the time with people saying different things, right? Apparently, Ed Miliband has been earmarked to replace Keir Starmer as Prime Minister. Yeah, I know. We get this all the time. We get all these reports all the time about different people are going to be taken over from Keir Starmer. But out of all of them, I think that's the most hilarious. Can you imagine him as Prime Minister? That clown in Parliament with his ukulele, singing his weird songs about the environment whilst jetting around the planet in a jet, and it's lunacy. It's lunacy. I almost want it to happen just to see the farce that it would cause, because he literally can't do any more damage to the country that's already been done. If anything was going to end the Labour Party's regime, it would be him as Prime Minister. Question time was a joke. They're only really scrapping. Right, let's talk about question time, right? So what right-wing person in their right mind would go on question time? Knowing its history, knowing the fact that it's loaded against them, knowing that it's basically just a program to entrap you. Why would you even go on it? If you want the BBC to absolutely implode in on itself, then every right-wing political commentator should just refuse to go on it. MPs, everybody, boycott it, refuse to go on the show, so that it's just them with their echo chamber, and eventually the show will die a death that it deserves to die. I don't know why people dignify it with going on there. They know the questions are loaded. They know the audience is stacked against them on purpose. They know the panel is stacked against them on purpose. So why do it to yourself? Question time is a travesty. It's like watching petulant kids screaming at each other instead of serious adults running the country. Yeah, it is, yeah. I don't even watch it. I haven't watched any BBC for decades. I really haven't, because it's pointless. Unfortunately, the powers that are using the same playbook as they used in America. Right, okay. I don't know what that is, but okay. Yeah, it's blowing in the wind, as is Miliband. Yes. Definitely. Right, let's have a look at some more stuff. I'm trying to find some of the things that I've actually bookmarked. To be honest with you, I've not really been on X in a long time. Let's have a look at the main pages on X, if there's anything going on here. See what we can see. So we'll share this because it's a bit boring for you guys. We're not speaking. I got rid of TV in 1998. Sorry, yeah, 1998. I think a lot of people did. I don't watch any terrestrial TV now. The main thing I watch is YouTube, and I read books. That's it. I read online books. I don't even look at the trash that's on terrestrial TV, because what is it now? Game shows, reality TV, and propaganda from the news, and woke TV programs that I've got no interest in. So I just don't watch it. It's the same. It's the same with movies in the cinema. You know, at one time I would be going out probably to the cinema once a month to go and watch a movie that I wanted to see. I just don't bother anymore now, because they're all woke. They're all ramming it down your throat. You can't get away from it. The thing about media, the TV, and going to watch movies, it's escapism. You do it because you want to have a bit of escapism from your life. You go to these places, and then not only is it being rammed down your throat, the message, the woke message. You know, I'm not going to go and pay 15 quid to go and be preached to by some upstart celebrity in a movie. So I don't watch movies anymore now. You know what? Lately, I've been watching movies from the 80s and 90s because that, we have to go back to those eras to actually find something worth watching. I've been watching mainly 80s and 90s sci-fi from when I was a kid, revisiting it. Been watching Battlestar Galactica, the old TV series, Knight Rider, Airwolf, Streetwalk, The A-Team, all those kinds of TV programs. Because the stuff they make nowadays is just woke shite. It's just garbage, mindless rubbish. And then from the 90s, Space Above and Beyond. What's the one? Space Above and Beyond, Babylon 5, brilliant. Deep Space Nine, Voyager, all those sort of things. Buck Rogers, definitely. Buck Rogers is right up there. Cheesy, but it's still better than the absolute shite they turn out now. But yeah, that's what I do. Did you see the city the Muslims wanted to build in America? Well, yeah. America's going to go the same way as London. I mean, New York has already gone the way of London, hasn't it? If you look at it, it's all by design. I mean, Bernie, Bernie on X, she said that the UK isn't isolating what's going on. If you look at countries in Europe, most of the countries are bringing in these wide sweeping security laws about surveillance, and they are. The police are getting more and more powers to do whatever they want, and we're not isolating it. This, if you look at the bigger picture, this is just a globalist takeover of the West. Absolutely, to try and implement this technocratic communism where it returns us voters, the people they're supposed to serve, back to serfdom. That's the idea. That's the grand plan with these people. That's the end game. A lot of people say, what's the end game? Well, the end game is that we serve them. That's what they always hated. They hated the fact that they have to serve the people. And if you've noticed, last few decades, they've stopped doing that. The politicians serve themselves, which is why these manifestos that they come up with before elections, they might just chuck them straight in the bin because they're just a pack of lies, all of them. They have no intentions of implementing anything that helps the people. It's all about serving themselves, 100%. I saw that. Starmer is now rolling out facial recognition drones. Yeah. So if anybody's seen the movie Ready Player One, where there's drones flying about that can recognize people on the street, yeah, Starmer's going to do this. Starmer's going to do this. And the beginning is he's passing laws in Parliament that will give powers to the police to implement facial recognition. First, the police will have these powers, and then it'll move on to CCTV on the street. And I had one clown come to my comment section the other day, and you've probably seen this argument yourselves, where they say, well, if you're not a criminal, you've got nothing to worry about. And it's like, yeah, that's all well and true to say that. But the fact of the matter is, what happens if they expand the meaning of criminal to mean people who talk about the government in a bad way? Now overnight, you're a criminal. That's the trouble with that type of reasoning and that sort of argument. Well, if you're not a criminal, then you've got nothing to worry about. A few years ago, we didn't have to worry about saying certain things online, did we? But now words are criminal. Some speech is criminal. Look at the non-hate crime incidents that the police were recording. Do you really trust these people with that sort of power? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Can they be trusted with this sort of power, given what they've done in the past? Let's not forget, right? In fact, let's find it. I'll find it. Right, this was Derbyshire Police. Yep. See if I can find it. But this is from the pandemic. Yeah, this is it. Right, well, I'll play this for you because this is very, very interesting. So we'll go back. This was during the pandemic. I'll share the screen in a minute because this is something people need to see. Hey, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. I want to show people this. I think I've showed it once or twice on other live streams, but not since I've got this massive influx of subscribers and people that come and watch this stuff. So pay attention to this. This was during the pandemic. This was Derbyshire Police. You tell me if this is overreach, and you tell me if you would trust these people with even more powers of surveillance. I don't think I would. So see if we can see it on the screen. Is it on the screen? Yeah, it's on the screen. Good. Right. I'm just going to play it. There's no sound, by the way. There's no sound on this. There you go. That's what Derbyshire Police were doing during the pandemic. Filming people. And this is when they had limited surveillance capabilities. Imagine if these people had facial recognition. What would they have done at that time? Would they be naming and shaming people for going out and walking alone in the Peak District where they have no chance of, and we all know it was absolute rubbish anyway, but let's take it from their point of view. They're saying that people shouldn't be out there because they could infect people. How? How do they know that those people haven't walked out there from where they live because they live in the Peak District? That's what I want to know. And this is what the police did with that level of surveillance then. Imagine what they would do now, given absolute total authority over this sort of technology. I don't trust them with it. I don't trust these people with it. People think that the police have only just become authoritarian now with the Starmer regime. Oh no, if you look way back to the pandemic, they were really authoritarian then. Arresting elderly couples for sitting on park benches in the park. The police were absolutely out of control back then. And even way before that, they were out of control, drunk on power. These powers that the police have, they don't need more powers. The powers need to be more deeply defined and some of the powers rolled back. And if they use certain powers, then the accountability for those powers should be, immense. So when they use the anti-terror laws to detain people and to take their phones off them, they should have a very, very good reason to do that. And there should be a very tough set of guidelines that sets out what they can and cannot do. At the minute, it's nebulous. It's absolutely nebulous what they can do. But these laws need to be more clearly defined. And it's purposely done why they're nebulous. It's so that they can overreach with these powers. I mean, look what they did. I mean, I'm only using him as an example, right? They stopped Tommy Robinson. at the airport or wherever he was going on terrorism charges, so they could take his phone off him. And they even admitted to him that he wasn't a terrorist. He hadn't committed any type of terrorist act, but they still used the terrorism laws to detain him and to take his phone off him, which is a massive overreach of that power. And if they can do it to somebody like that, they can do it to any one of us. That's my point in all of this. There needs to be more accountability for the police and their powers, and there should be better mechanisms in place to hold law enforcement to account so they don't abuse their powers. There should be a civilian body that they have to go to, that they can be referred to, instead of their own people. Because their own people, I mean, what's the point? It's like the police investigating themselves. So look at some of the comments. The police are a registered corporation. It's all about the money. Yeah. I've never had my jabs from day one. Neither did I. It was BS. I was out every day and everywhere. So was I. I was out camping and doing all sorts. Didn't give a toss about restrictions. All rubbish. The mask mandate was repealed the next day, and for some reason they didn't tell people. I found this on YouGov. Yeah, because they all know it was rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. Our laws are a breach of our rights. Yes, they are. That's why they need to be wound back. That's why we need a Bill of Rights. I remember watching Resistance GB when there was a massive sit-in protest in London Park during the lockdowns, and the police brutally removed all the protesters and arrested many. I remember the protest, the lockdown protest, and the police snatch squads that brutally charged into the crowd, batons drawn, arresting people. Famously, at Christmas, I remember the Santa Claus. They targeted the Santa Claus that was in the crowd, and they arrested him. I remember when they charged a peaceful protest of women, children in Trafalgar Square, batons drawn. Do you remember the old woman being kicked off the chair? So all this notion that it's the police have all of a sudden become authoritarian is rubbish. They've been like this for a long time, since the pandemic and beyond that. The UK is the only country in the world where the punishment for hurty words is for the police to steal every electronic device from your home. Exactly. This is a medical fact that viruses do not like strong UV light, and it kills viruses. Yeah, definitely. The idea that those crappy masks were going to stop you dying was hilarious. Same as those screens they put up in shops. People actually believe this stuff. And let's not forget, right? Let's not forget the absolute lunacy that they had in pubs and restaurants, where if you stood up at the bar, you had to wear a mask. If you sat down eating your meal, you had to take the mask off. And somehow the virus knew the difference between the two things. It's like, oh, guy stood up. The guy stood up. Can't infect him now. Can't infect him now. He stood up. He's got his mask on. Even though viruses, can enter through any orifice or anything like your nose, your eyes. They can, any mucous membrane they can get through. That's why most virologists wear the full suit to seal their entire body out. If your eyes aren't covered, if your eyes aren't protected, you're vulnerable to the virus. This is what told me it was absolute bullshit what they were saying to people. Absolutely. And let's not forget, let's go back to the pub and restaurant thing again, right? So the virus knew when you were stood up. It also knew when you were sat down not to infect you, because you could take your mask off now. That's the lunacy of the restrictions. Absolute lunacy of things. But everything was okay in supermarkets. People could walk around touching all the different produce, and anybody that's got an ounce of scientific knowledge knows that viruses can live outside of the body for 24 hours. So if you're touching things like produce, bread, milk, stuff like that, if you've got a virus, you're leaving that virus on that object for at least 24 hours. but everybody was okay to go to supermarkets and handle the different produce without gloves on, weren't they? Absolute clown show. People fell for it. Derbyshire police fined 2 women having a coffee at a reservoir too. Yeah, I think the majority of those fines were actually quashed in court. They found they couldn't actually do them. Yeah, it was nothing more. It was nothing more than a compliance test to see if people would comply to lunacy, to total lunacy in that period of time. These police officers complacent are going to be happy when they're replaced with AI and bots and automations, drones. Exactly. It's coming, isn't it? Look, if there was really a lethal killer virus, the powers that be will be taking it up, take it down, not up. It was a wall of war control. Exactly. The thing is, right, if it was as deadly as they were making out, you wouldn't have been able to leave the house. You would have had the army coming round in full hazmat suits, delivering army rations to your door and water every single day. That's what would have happened. The fact that we had masks blowing around the street and not in hazmat bins and being disposed of properly should have told everybody everything about the so-called pandemic. But the morons believed it, didn't they? They believed it. I believe that too, definitely. I think the whole scandemic was to sort out the compliant from the non-compliant. Yep. Matt Hancock caught playing football in the park during the lockdown, and he was basically laughing at us. Oh God, they all were. They're all laughing at us. Remember when BSE was running the riot in the 90s? The government played it down and made out it was nothing exactly. And look at what they were trying to do again, right? Look at what they were trying to do with monkeypox. They were trying to blow that up as the next pandemic so they could get all their control back. And nothing happened because people stopped believing. People eventually started to see through the rubbish after, Omega or Prime, that the Prime strain is coming. And it's like, no, you're pushing it too far now. You're just trying to maintain control. It was a joke. Lost my job. Many friends joined the scandemic because I refused the poison. Me too. I'm ostracized from my family because I didn't comply, and that's it. We are done and dusted. Will never speak to me. And lost some friends, lost some lifelong friends through it as well. It's like, no. Yeah. So be it. I hate the idea of the state creeping around us. The argument about having nothing to hide is moronic. Tracking where people are and what they're doing, date, time, it is creepy and sinister. Exactly, of course it is. I mean, the prime example is what I've just shown in the Peak District during the pandemic. Derbyshire police thought it was a good use of resources to put up a drone and go and spy on people in a beauty spot. What they forget to realise is people's mental health. You can't lock people up in their homes indefinitely without severe psychological damage to them. You can't do that. And a lot of people were using this opportunity to go out and, get their mind straight. I didn't pay any attention to any of the restrictions. It was like, F that. This is all rubbish. Absolute horse shit. Nothing to hide is a sinister argument. The burden of proof is on the person who wants to intervene, not on you to prove you've done nothing wrong. Exactly. Totally agree with that. The most shocking thing I saw about the poor military guy that refused the poison and was held down and forced to take it. Yeah. A lot of that happened. And now that I think Andrew Bridgen was posting this on X the other day. He was posting the map of the massive outbreak in turbo cancer. And you know what all of that has in common with the pandemic? You can trace it all back to when the vaccine rollout started, from when it first started to appear. You can trace it all back to the vaccine rollouts. And people can make of that of what they will. Right, let's have a look at some more things on X. To low population, yeah, I covered this before. They were talking about this. The World Economic Forum weren't even hiding any of this. If you go on their websites and you look at their keynote speech makers during the pandemic, this is what they were saying. Bill Gates came out and said that the world is overpopulated. We need to reduce the population. They've openly come out and said this. They're not hiding any of this at all. And some of the things they were saying during the pandemic was just absolutely beyond evil. Beyond evil. Really was. They're insane. During the pandemic, I wish I'd invested in lots of tape stocks. Yeah. I also wonder if something was going on while we were all indoors, where cameras were going up, surveillance tools. Maybe so. Maybe so. Let's have a look at some more stuff on X. Yeah, I wanted to cover this actually. Right, we'll cover this because this is interesting. I'm not going to put the music on, we'll mute that. Put music on. But there's a lot of, I don't know how you guys feel about the war in Ukraine. The only reason I ever talk about the war in Ukraine is because we're giving billions of our taxpayer money to fund that absolute travesty. Normally, I wouldn't even talk about that sort of thing. We'll just see what's. I wish you stopped calling it the pandemic. Can people stop policing my speech? I think we all know it wasn't a pandemic. Yeah, we all know it wasn't a pandemic. Call it a scamdemic. You can call it what you like. Yeah, I think I've made it quite clear that I don't believe that it was a pandemic. So please stop policing my speech. Okay. The depopulation agenda didn't go like they wanted it to do. So now they're pushing the Russia conflict to put our young generation through the meat grinder. Yeah. That's the next thing, isn't it? What is it? France is now going for the, they're calling it voluntary conscription. And you can rest assured, the minute they don't get the numbers they want through voluntary conscription, they will make it mandatory conscription. That's what they'll do. I believe it was a genocide. Yeah, it was a disguised genocide. They used the vaccine to kill lots of people. They also used they also euthanized a lot of people in care homes, didn't they? With the end of life drug. The depopulation will be done in stages. Yeah, they're not going to do it all at once because people would notice it. That's the one I can't pronounce it. What is it? Midazolam. Is that it? Midazolam. That's how I pronounce it. Yeah, that's it. Right. So we'll have a look at this. I'm going to share this because I don't think people understand how war works. Right. So share this on the screen. So you'll probably, if you're on social media, you'll probably see a lot of the lefties sharing this sort of stuff. So this is obviously Kiev. Trump supported this, and he's crying. It's like they don't get how war works. So I'll just play it without the sound. But this is Kiev. Russia's launching massive drone strikes against Ukraine at the minute. And this is what war looks like. This is war. And this is what these people don't understand. It's not that one side is more evil than the other. The Ukraine is doing exactly the same thing to Russia. They're firing drones into Russia. It's just that Ukraine picked on a country that had more firepower than it did. This is like a play for play of what's happening in Gaza as well. It's like, don't start wars you can't finish. And yes, Ukraine did start the war. It did start the war when it broke the Minsk agreements and started artillery shelling the people in the Donbass region of Ukraine. They started this war. They made this war inevitable. So now they're just paying the price for their actions, and they don't like it. And it's the same thing in Gaza. You've got these bleeding heart liberals that say, look at what's happening. Gaza's been leveled. Well, that's what happens in war. If you don't want your cities turned to rubble and turn into, the world's biggest car parks, then don't start wars you can't finish. That's the moral of the story. War is bad. This is what happens in war. Civilians die. And yes, Russia is targeting Ukraine's infrastructure, because if you target infrastructure, you can end the war quickly, because there's more chance that your enemy is going to surrender when it realizes it has no more infrastructure left. That's how you win a war. And if that's hard for people to swallow, tough. That's just the reality of the world. Yep. They'll probably make conscription mandatory and use the digital currency as a way to force people in. No conscription, no money, no food. Good point. Very good point. Fighting for resources, nothing more. Exactly. This was on Dr. James Campbell. It's not quite a vaccine, stream therapy. Yep. I think you said it best a while ago, Vin. These youngsters think war is a game of Call of Duty where you get to respawn. They're not. They're in for one horrific shock. Yes, they are. Right, guys. So what I'm going to do is we're coming up to the hour mark, so I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Anyone wants to come in for 5 or 10 minutes? I'm just going to stay on till about 10 past 1, and then I'm going to end the live stream. So if you want to come in, you can do. I'll drop the link, and you can come in if you want to. I want to try and get some more people to come into these live streams and have a chat. People feeling brave. So I'm going to drop the link in there. Feel free to come in. While that's doing that, I'm going to get up Tom's channel link, and please, if you like his content, go and subscribe to Tom, because he's awesome. Forget what his channel's called now. What is it? 0, 0. Sure, this is his new channel. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one. Right, I'll drop the link in the chat. Please go subscribe to Tom. We're trying to get. He's currently on 85 subscribers. We want to get him up to 1,000 subscribers. So let's get him up to that. Can we please? Be good to see Tom back doing his stuff again. There you go. That's Tom's channel. Go subscribe to Tom. Go and watch some of his content. If you like his content, go sub to him. Anyone want to come in? I'll drop the link again. Thanks, Klaus. That's awesome, mate. Brilliant. He needs all the help he can get. The more people that subscribe, the more he's. Yeah, we're still in play. Yeah, we're still alive. Definitely still alive. I'll drop the link again in the chat. If everyone wants to come in, can do. I don't like to let these live streams run for more than an hour if I can. Possibly can. Thanks, guys. It's brilliant. It's going to give him a boost, that. Right, I've dropped the link in the chat. If anyone wants to come in, they can do. I'm going to give you few minutes to make up your minds if you want to come in, then I'm going to end the live stream. Anything else you guys want to talk about while we're waiting? See if everyone wants to come in. In fact, we'll do this. We'll have a brief look at what's on X again, I think. See if there's any stories that popped up while I've been talking to you guys. Because that sometimes happens as well. Oh, somebody's come in. Somebody popped in. Right, we'll get rid of that. Stop sharing. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Hey. Yeah, you're right, mate.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. I don't think we spoke before, have we? I'm all right, yeah. Hey. Sorry for the audio.
Go on, mate. What do you want to say?
Well, a few seconds behind live.
Yeah, we're still alive, yeah.
Right, what I wanted to say, I just thought lighten the mood ever so slightly. Oh, what's that? Hang on. Hi, mate, you're right. Right, cool. Right, I think I had the YouTube run at the same time. Sorry about that.
It's all right, mate.
Cool, right. I just want to lighten the mood slightly. Did you have the pleasure of seeing any footage from the Your Party conference last week? I just thought I'd for a few minutes I'm going to laugh about that first.
Yes,
all right.
mate. Yes, I did. And it was like I was going to cover it, but loads of other people covered it. I thought I'm just going over the same territories they would be doing, and it was an actual shit show.
It was really funny. It actually looked a bit like they'd. I don't want to say I'm mean, but it looked like they cleared a mental hospital or something, you know.
Well, they're all arguing amongst themselves, weren't they? And apparently, after the event, they took a vote and they removed Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana as leadership. So they're gone.
Yeah.
They're not even leadership anymore. They've got. They're now ruled by committee.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting though, because I was just talking to a mate of mine in the week. Do you remember that idea that we were discussing a little while ago about, forming cells of 5 to 10 locally?
Just say that again, mate. Your audio was a bit choppy. Yeah,
it is. So it's something with a cave, doesn't it? Do you remember that idea we were discussing a little while ago about cells of 5 to 10? Where you form a group of 5 to 10 people locally and you try and get a few of you elected.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it did seem to me like Your Party sort of they wanted all the benefits of leaderlessness, but none of the hard work that went with it. Do you know what I mean? It's like these people who were getting up and saying, "Let's not have a leader."
Actually, that's communism. That's communism.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's like that's the communist mindset. I can't be the leader, so no one should be.
Yeah, they're just useless, mate. I mean, I was loving how every speaker was coming up and they were being rebellious to the party itself anyway. They were having a go at the party, every speaker. It was like, there's so many factions that can't get on within. I mean, this is the same within the Labour Party as well. They're so divided. People don't realise how divided the Labour Party actually is. It is. It's made up of different activist factions.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And some of those people would be more at home in a kind of entryist Marxist organisation, and you've got other people who are, sort of like neoliberals at the other end. It's never going to be cohesive, is it?
No, they'll fall apart. There's no way that Your Party is going to do absolutely anything in the polls. They're just going to be a fringe party that everybody laughs at. They're going to be the new Monster Raving Looney Party, mate. That's what they are.
I just thought it was it was a bit of light entertainment for us last weekend. I thought it was very funny. That was all. I see the other thing that I mentioned earlier was I see Mr. Farage on a meltdown the other night, and I thought that was extremely funny as well.
I'll be honest with you, I was actually surprised. I thought he's showing a bit of backbone towards the BBC, and it was good to watch because that's what he should have been like from the beginning with the BBC. He shouldn't have been appeasing them. He should have been like, he should have been like President Trump. I'm not speaking to you. You're fake news. You're nothing more than propaganda, and tore strips off them. But he didn't. He tried to appease them, and this is what did damage to him, in my opinion, in my eyes anyway. That's what damaged him in my eyes, that he wasn't a strong leader.
Well, he's gone from one extreme to the other like that, and it doesn't look good, does it? It's like this sudden shift in direction, and it looked like it did look like he was a bit out of control, and he was throwing a tantrum the other day. I don't think it was a good look at all.
And the thing is, though, mate, even if it is genuine, it just looks fake because it looks like he's just putting that on for the camera to make himself look stronger now. That's all it looks like now. It's not actual true strength. It's just him trying to project that strength when it's not really there at all.
No, it's not. And the other thing is, I mean, like, as for the story itself, I mean, I don't think they could have handled it any worse, because you've got two choices. You can either say I didn't say those things, or you can say, look, I said those things, but come on, I was a teenager. It was 50 years ago in a different social climate. I'm sorry if
What he should have come out and said was, it was 50 years ago. It's like, you're really going to try and hold me account to things that I said 50 years ago? Anybody can change their opinion in 50 years. I'm not the same person I was a year ago, so let alone 50 years ago. That's how he should have handled it. But instead, he did this like Oliver impression where he's like, please, like once again trying to appease him when he shouldn't have done. And this isn't like a reform bashing session either. I don't, to be honest, mate, at the minute, from all the parties that I've seen, not one of them is fit to be in government, to represent us on the right wing. None of them are. They're useless.
Indeed. And there are too many of them as well.
Yeah.
I'd have gone down the road of saying pretty much what you said, but with like a qualified apology at the end. Look, if I did cause genuine lasting hurt to anybody, I'm sorry. And I think that would have made the story go away. Really.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, mate. I don't know what the. So what do you think about the current state of the country, mate? What's your impression of that at the minute?
I think a few things. I don't want to sound gloomy, then, but I think we're too far gone. And I know that sounds very negative, but I think a lot of things, socially and economically, we're too far gone. The other thing that people, I know we focus on certain issues on channels like this, but the other thing that we are going to run out of money soon.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think we're already running out of money. I think they're printing money like it's going out of fashion, and they're trying their hardest to hide it. I mean, they've just had another financial warning from the IMF saying you're going to tank the economy. Your economy's going to die, and they're not going to be able to bail us out, mate. I mean, they're all in the same boat as we are because they've been doing exactly the same thing since the pandemic, printing money like it's going out of fashion, and we're in trouble. We're in real trouble. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's going to be a recession." No, it's not. The whole economy is going to collapse.
Yeah, and it's about who's in possession of the ball when that happens and who gets the blame. You know.
Can you imagine all these lefties, all these middle class lefties, suddenly waking up in the morning and finding out all their life savings are now worthless? They're gone. There's nothing there anymore. Yeah,
but the left will go, "This was capitalism for you." You know, capitalism did this. They'll blame that, and they'll say, "Oh well, we need to go even bigger government. You know, full blown socialism. You know, and it really is about. I wouldn't want to be in possession of the ball. If Reform won that election, and I know they're normally a sort of centre right party, but if they happen to be in possession of the ball when the economy tanks. You know what's going to get the blame, don't you? You know how that's going to get played out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're going to blame everything on what the Tories did, even though the Tories were to blame as well. This isn't just a Labour thing. The Tories were just as bad as they were. But obviously, they're in control. They're the ones that are in charge at the minute. They're the ones that could turn this around, but haven't done with their budget. I mean, they could have slashed tax. They could have slashed tax. They could have put more money in people's pockets and made things better, but they've chosen not to do that. So the responsibility is firmly with them now. They're the ones making the decisions, and they've messed up. So
but it's about who's in charge when that final kaboom happens. That final explosion. Where we end up going to the IMF for a bailout and maybe not getting it as well.
Yeah.
I think this is about keeping the economy on life support, and someone else will get the blame.
Look what happens, right? Benefits won't be paid. We can no longer afford to house all those illegal immigrants in hotels anymore. What's going to happen to them? As soon as the money dries up, mate, as soon as that money dries up when our economy collapses, they'll all go. They will leave. So there's a plus side to it. They will leave the country. No more handouts. No more free stuff. They'll be gone. They'll go back to their own third world shitholes and we'll never see them again. For the rest of us, we're going to be left in real trouble because our infrastructure will be non-existent. NHS won't be able to function. People don't realise it's as bad as a civil war, losing your economy, because there'll be no money for services, public services.
Oh, it'll be like the 1930s again. It will.
Oh, yeah.
Unemployment will go through the roof. You'll have black economies galore and all sorts.
Yeah. Right, mate. I'm going to end this here. Thanks for coming on, buddy. It's been. I'll have to come on again sometime. We'll have to have a longer chat. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do, mate. You go have someone else. So maybe stick around for a minute or two. Let someone else talk. I don't know.
No, I'm actually going to end the live stream now. I normally go for about an hour to keep things short because people's attention spans are pretty low. Anything over an hour and they won't watch it. So I have to try and keep it within a certain limit. But yeah, thanks for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate it. It's good to have somebody else.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for having me on, mate. Thank you.
No problem, buddy. See you next time.
See you later.
See you later, mate. Right, guys. Thanks for coming along. Don't forget to see if we can drop it in the chat. Is that still the link? No, it's not. Right, I'm not going to drop that in the chat. I'll not drop that in. Go and subscribe to Tom Zero News on YouTube. You can find out wherever else he is from that point onwards. Go subscribe to him. Go and give him some love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All my content really helps as well. And thank you for coming on, guys. Thank you for having a listen. And it's always great to talk to you people. Again, thank you to my audience for liking, sharing, subscribing. I'm nothing without you guys. I never forget that. This is Vindicator, signing off.